5 signs from the universe that you ignore at your own peril. The universe is always communicating with us, and sometimes it will be communicating signs to us, messages to us that we should turn a different way or change something up. And so that's what we're going to be going over in this video coming up next. Before we get started, guys, my name is Dave. If you're new to the channel, this is HeartSpace, where we are creating videos to help you connect to what you truly are and live from that place. Now, one of the best ways you're going to actually be able to do this is get my new meditation. It's absolutely free. It's a higher self meditation that is going to take you down your heart path, connect to your higher self, and ultimately become your higher self. So if that sounds interesting to you, download that for free. It's in the description. Before we get started, now without further ado, let's get into this video, starting in reverse order with number 5. And number 5 is you have very negative or low energy people in your immediate reality or vicinity. This might be you have a lot of friends or coworkers, for example, that are just not in a good energy. They're in low consciousness. Well, guess what? Your outer world is simply a reflection of your inner. And if you have these people in your reality, it's something that you're most likely projecting out. And the universe is only going to give you the manifestation, the personification of the energy that you are transmitting out and have probably been transmitting out for a long time. Now, even when you begin transmitting more positive energy out and you're in higher consciousness, these people aren't just going to disappear, but you might see more conflict happening with these people because something needs to change. It's now a mismatch. So one of two things is going to happen. Either the conflict's going to happen and you're going to come back down into the low energy and then things will smooth over, or you will embrace the chaos, so to speak, and a new level of order will be created. You know, a lot of times this can actually lead to things that you think are negative, but from a universal perspective are only helping you further down your heart path, like losing your job at a job that's not aligned, or you quitting the job, friends that maybe you've had for a very long time leaving you, or you leaving them because it's actually toxic and not aligned for either of you, and things like that can happen. But when you have these people who are clearly misaligned in your outer world, this is communication from the universe, you know, telling you that this is time to let go of this. It is time to move on. This is not aligned. When you are feeling that pit in your stomach, that heaviness when you're around these people, it's misaligned. Guess what? Heavy people feel comfortable around heavy people. When they are around this type of person, you might even think to yourself, how can anyone stand being around this type of person? Because they are congruent with them. They don't see it that way. They actually feel comfortable with someone else who's also playing the victim, or someone else who's also miserable. You know, what is it? Misery loves company. Birds of a feather flock together. And if you're feeling a disconnect from that, it means you are not a bird of that feather. And therefore the universe is giving you that messaging through your emotions, through your feelings, that this is not aligned. And again, if you ignore this, it's just going to lead to worse and worse things. The universe will kick your ass harder and harder and harder until you get it. This kind of person is going to keep coming into your life. You know, I have a story where I used to have coworkers that were like this, and it just didn't matter which place I worked at. I worked at like 2 or 3 different places, actually even more, and every time I got a coworker with similar energy because I hadn't transcended this yet. I hadn't actually listened to the message from the universe, but as soon as I did, and I left those kind of environments and went, enough is enough, lo and behold, I haven't had someone in my life like that since. So make sure you're taking in that message from the universe. Do not ignore it, because it's not going to go away. It's not, you can't just close your eyes and hope it's going to go away, right? You have to listen to the communication and act accordingly. The next sign from the universe that you ignore at your own peril is positive people. Look, it doesn't just happen on the negative, it's also on the positive. And sometimes we will ignore the positives that come into our life because we're not used to looking at them. And then people who would be great for us, you know, a tribe of people who would influence us positively and help us grow more, a community of people, a specific person, you know, a certain environment with certain people, we ignore it because it's maybe not completely something we're used to yet. But if we were to embrace that and invest more energy and time around these people who will start coming in as you shift your energy, if we don't shy away from that, because sometimes someone who's shining brightly can be intimidating, but embrace it, because you can be that too. And when you invest more of your energy with the positive people, if you're here on this channel, for example, you are doing that, right? But make sure you're also doing that in everyday life. Make sure you're not just doing that when you're watching a video. Make sure you're getting into communities where people are going to lift you up and support you in your highest, not your story, not your victim story. Get into communities that are going to see you as the divine being that you are and lift you up and hold you to a high standard versus seeing you as the poor me, which you aren't really, but you've convinced yourself you are. And there are plenty of people who will just talk about their stories with each other and give more energy to that, right? So don't ignore the sign from the universe when positive people come in that are coming in because you're aligning with that. A lot of times, and I did this all the time when I was first going through my awakening, is I ignored these people who were naturally now gravitating towards me more because I wasn't used to it. And I was ignoring these signs. And when I finally just allowed myself to surrender to that, amazing people started coming in. I started developing incredible relationships and friendships with people who hold me at a higher standard and I hold them at a higher standard. And it led to so much growth. So in the way, you don't want to ignore the negative stimulus coming in from people as a sign of like, this isn't aligned. Don't ignore when something is aligning, like a person or a group, to go towards that. It might be to invest in something, right? Where you would get access to an amazing group of people. Whatever it is, don't ignore these signs either, because again, it's going to limit your growth. Number 3 is a huge one, because this is one a lot of people ignore. They think it's just normal, or they blame life and just say this is how life is, so they think it's normal. And it's pains and afflictions, physical pains and afflictions. You have to understand, with all pains, all dis-ease, all suffering that comes from this is self-created. But we like to blame everything besides ourselves. It's not to blame ourselves, but we'd like to give everything but ourselves responsibility. Some people, when they have an injury or they have a disease, they'll just curse life, curse God, curse the universe. Why have you done this to me? Why do I have this disease? Why do I have this injury or whatever else it is? I did this. I had a back injury and I still am working through that I blamed life for all of the time. And if I stopped blaming life and just took the message and worked with it, I probably would have healed it long time ago, right? And so understanding that dis-ease, remember, break that word down. What is it? Dis-ease. These things stem from things like stress. These things stem from being in states of low consciousness. I can give you examples of people who are in their 50s and older who are healthier than people in their 20s and have almost no dis-ease in their bodies. Why? Because they deal with the inner. They take care of their bodies. When you take care of the inner world, you start taking care of the physical naturally. And if you're getting physical pains, and you're getting attached to them and you're allowing it to allow you to suffer, you're getting dis-eases. This is always something that is coming from something inwardly that the universe is trying to point you towards. Don't use it as like oh my God, this is so unfair. Use it as the communication and message that it is, to put your attention on it, to give love to it, to find solutions for it, instead of being like, oh, poor me, right? The universe will do that a lot. A lot of times when you have pains and inflammation and things of this nature, a lot of times it's trapped energy. And it's trying to bring your attention to the trapped energy. That's what pain is for, right? Why do we even have pain? Because if I hurt my wrist, my body wants me to know, the universe wants me to know, you've hurt your wrist, you silly guy. Let it rest, let it heal. If you keep using it, you're gonna, bad things are gonna happen, right? If you keep doing this thing you're doing, bad things are gonna happen. Sometimes the universe will use accidents and injuries as well as a way of kicking your ass to be like, look, you've added way too much stress into your life, you're going in the wrong direction. So don't ignore those physical signs as well. They are not always, sometimes it can be accidental and sometimes it can be whatever it is, but most of the time it is also a communication. Nothing happens for no reason. So remember, if you're feeling those things in your body that are uncomfortable, trapped energy, instead of bemoaning them, instead of cursing them, look at them in a different light. Look at it as a communication and ask, what is being communicated to me? What do I need to change? And a lot of times when you make that change, you'll be like, wow, that pain's gone. How about that? Wow, that disease is gone. Even things that are so-called incurable. I won't go too much into that in this video, but there are so many things that we call incurable that are totally curable. Okay? Disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. There you go. But just look into that a little more. Don't just give your power away to some label of something. Understand that a lot of these things happen for a reason. They are the product of past decisions, and new decisions will lead to different products, to different results. Speaking of that, on the same kind of train, but taking it outside of physicality, is negative synchronicities. A lot of times people just want to look at the positives. We just want to ignore the shadow side or what the negative is doing. Remember, there is no real positive and negative. It is our projection which makes it so. An event is just an event. When you break out the story and you take away the emotion, an event is just an event. You know, there could be an event where one person looks at it like this is the best thing ever, and one person looks at it, this is traumatic and I hate it, right? You know, there can be both sides to it. There could be the exact event that two people project completely differently and take away different things from it. So understand that first and foremost. But negative synchronicities are things that you project as so-called bad that are also communications. I have a famous story about I have a story I share on this channel. Famous, oh, everyone talks about it. But the story that I've used on this channel a lot about a trip to Malaysia where I had a ton of negative synchronicities and wasn't getting the message, and the universe kept kicking my ass harder and harder and harder, and it wasn't just going away until I finally paid attention to it and realized, oh, all of this is happening because of the energy I'm showing up in. All of this is happening because of the decisions I made. A lot of times, negative synchronicities happen to bring your attention to something that you are doing so that you can change it, or at least realize why you're getting these things in your life, right? When you have positive momentum, you see positive synchronicities for a reason. When you have negative momentum, you see negative synchronicities. And when a lot of times we don't see these negative synchronicities because we're so used to them, they've become habitual. But when I saw this, I had been so habitualizing positivity that this negative synchronicity hit me like a ton of bricks. And as you start evolving more and you start getting yourself more used to positive synchronicities, you will notice the negative ones more when they come in. But again, use that stimulus to change, to look at it, and then to shift. So before we get to number one, I hope you're enjoying the light coming in and out in this video. It's just the sun keeps coming in and out, so I apologize for that. There's nothing I can do about it. I think it's about to go out again, so you're gonna notice it. Ready? Wait, no, it's my power. Ready? Go dim. Dim, right? Oh no, now it's not doing it. Great. But anyway, number one is obvious resonance. What does obvious resonance mean? When you resonate with something, when you get excited about something, when there's something your heart is quite clearly moving you towards, this is one of the biggest communications that you are meant to go towards that. That is where your next level of growth is. That is where your next level of just joy and fulfillment is. That is where your heart is just jumping out of your chest and wants to go towards and goes, yes, this is so exciting. Yes, this will help me become more of what I am and experience that. It will help me experience what I truly am, my divinity, and moving towards that. Obvious resonance. You clearly resonate with the thing. The problem is a lot of people get scared when this happens because this is what we call a leap of faith. Sometimes this obvious resonance is moving to another country. Sometimes it's leaving a relationship or getting into one. It's a lot of times a powerful decision. Not always. Sometimes it could just be like, I really resonate with this video and I want to watch it. It's like, oh, I really resonate with dancing around the room right now. So there's like decisions that aren't that, you know, what we consider big that can come with this too. But I guarantee there is a somewhat big decision in you, and you probably know what it is, that you resonate with a certain decision, but your head's trying to talk you out of it. Tell me if I'm wrong. But almost everyone has this, especially if you're not used to taking leaps of faith. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to do. All I'm going to tell you is that when you take that decision, that leap of faith, magical things begin to happen. If you want quantum leaps in your life, if you want quantum transformation, where to the point where when you look back in a year, you will not even recognize the person that you were a year previous, if the method to get there, the way to get there, is that thing you really resonate with from your heart, you're excited about, it's clearly in your heart. It's just, there's no doubt about it. It is clearly your soul and your heart moving in that direction, compelling you towards a decision. If you make that choice often, you will transform faster, grow faster, transcend faster than you can even imagine. More than you can possibly imagine as you're watching this, you will be able to transcend and shift. And the universe, again, through your heart, through your soul, through what you really are, will resonate usually most heavily with these things, or lightly, I should say, most powerfully with whatever that is. And again, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But in my eyes, working with people and with myself and in my friends, I've seen do this, and even family members I've seen do this, which has been beautiful to see. It's always led to incredible progress, incredible results, incredible transformations every single time, 100% of the time, if it's actually a heart-based, really resonating with something. So something to keep in mind. Anyway, guys, those are 5 signs from the universe you ignore at your own peril. You know, the universe is always communicating with us 24/7. It's never not there. It is always available. It is always giving us some kind of messaging and some kind of signs. You are always transmitting, right? You're always transmitting out. There is no getting away from it. You are a creative being. In the same way the universe is communicating with us 24/7, we are communicating with the universe 24/7, right? And so take in the signs and the feedback the universe is giving you, because everything that's happening is feedback. It is communication. And then you're able to, from that feedback, move a little bit differently, or keep going if it's a positive sign, like a keep going sign, and keep communicating that back to the universe. And it just becomes this divine communication 24/7, this communion with the divine, with the universe. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this video. I really do appreciate it. Again, get my free meditation, guided meditation to meet your higher self. It is incredibly powerful. I literally got goosebumps while recording it. I was actually swaying. I was so tuned in when I recorded this. I'm absolutely so incredibly proud of it, so happy of it, so in love with it. So download that for free down below. I have a version with music and without music for whichever you prefer, but that's down below. You can get the access to that. Remember, guys, you are loved, and I will see you in the next video.